9 signs from your childhood showed you were chosen. Have you ever felt like there's something greater guiding you, even from a young age? Maybe you've noticed subtle signs along your journey, small moments or feelings that made you feel different, as though you were meant for something more. These aren't coincidences. They're signs that you were destined for a unique path, and the universe has been guiding you all along. From your earliest steps, there may have been a quiet calling, a deeper purpose you weren't fully aware of yet. At first, these signs can be easy to overlook, but over time, they reveal a clearer picture of the life you're meant to live. Whether it's a sense of connection with the world around you, or moments where you felt a mysterious presence guiding you, these experiences are not just random. They're the universe showing you your true calling. Today, we'll explore 9 signs that could reveal you were chosen for something special from the very beginning. It's time to reflect on your life story and recognize the clues that have always been there, leading you toward your higher purpose. Join me on this journey of self-discovery and find out how the signs in your life may have been pointing to your divine destiny all along. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the Top Hidden Knowledge channel to stay updated on all things related to personal and spiritual growth. Now, let's get started. 1. Singularity. Since childhood, you may have felt different from your peers. You might have been more introspective, observant, or had thoughts and feelings that others didn't share. This sense of singularity is a feeling of being made for something special, even if the exact purpose remains unknown. While others played and mingled easily, you might have preferred quieter moments of reflection or posed deep questions that adults struggle to answer. You may have felt that the world around you didn't make as much sense to you as it did to others. You might have even wondered, why do I feel this way? Why don't I seem to fit in completely? This feeling, though sometimes lonely, doesn't signify a flaw. In fact, it's a sign of being set apart for a greater purpose. This difference isn't a flaw but a mark, as if God has left a sign on your soul, indicating a special meaning for your life. A child who feels this way might have a natural inclination to care for others, to help or protect, even without understanding why. You might have empathized with an isolated classmate or felt sadness at the sight of someone suffering, even without prompting. This demonstrates a sensitive heart and a readiness for something greater. Romans 12 verse 2 reminds us, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." This passage teaches us that being different isn't a problem but a part of our identity. This feeling of singularity is the first clue that God has something special in store for you. Embracing this can be the first step toward understanding the purpose He has placed in your life. 2. Consciousness. From an early age, you may have noticed a unique perspective on the world. Your senses seemed more alert, picking up on details that others missed. This heightened perception was inexplicable, as if you were tuned into something greater, something beyond the visible. While other children were distracted by games or everyday occurrences, you might have observed emotions, gestures, or subtle changes in the environment. It was as if you possessed a special sensitivity to perceive things that were less obvious to others. This consciousness wasn't just about observation, but also about feeling. You might have sensed a different atmosphere in places or even intuited upcoming events without concrete evidence. For example, you may recall moments when you felt a strong connection with nature or simple situations that awakened something deep within you. A gentle breeze, the sound of rain, or the silence of the night might have evoked inexplicable feelings, as if the universe was trying to communicate with you. These moments were not coincidences, but signs of a special connection with the unseen. This sensitivity, uncommon and a hallmark of a chosen one, reflects the ability to perceive and interpret the world in a unique way, revealing the special role you were called to play. Proverbs 20 verse 27 states, "The human spirit is the lamp of the Lord that searches all the inner parts of a person." This passage reminds us that God often guides us through our inner perception, using our sensitivity to show us paths or alert us to important situations. Recognizing this heightened consciousness is crucial for understanding your purpose. It is a divine tool to fulfill your mission, allowing you to see beyond appearances and perceive what truly matters on your journey. 3. Empathy. One of the clearest signs of being chosen is the ability to deeply feel the emotions of others. Since childhood, you may have noticed a unique empathy. While many ignored or missed the feelings of others, you seem to absorb them as your own. This sensitivity wasn't superficial, but a heart's opening to understand and embrace the world around you. Perhaps you remember moments when someone was sad or distressed, and even without words, you knew they needed comfort. You could see beyond words, feeling their pain or joy as if it were your own. This unique empathy isn't just a personality trait, but a spiritual gift that prepares you to help, care, and serve. You might have been the child who worried about excluded classmates or couldn't ignore the suffering of others. You felt the need to comfort, even without understanding the situation. This extraordinary empathy reflects God's love working within your heart, shaping you to be a source of comfort and hope. The Bible emphasizes the importance of being sensitive to others' needs in Romans 12 verse 15. Rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn. This passage shows that feeling what others feel is a way to reflect divine love and fulfill God's purpose in our lives. This extraordinary empathy, present from an early age, isn't a weakness but a strength. It's a tool that allows you to connect deeply with others, offering support, understanding, and light in difficult times. Recognize this ability as a sign of your calling to serve and live a greater purpose, helping those in need and reflecting God's love in every act of care. 4. Premonitions. Many chosen children experience striking, intense dreams or premonitions that come true over time. These events aren't coincidences, but clear signs of a higher power at work in their lives. These dreams, often laden with deep meaning, are like messages pointing to their special purpose. Perhaps you remember a dream that felt more real than any other, so vivid that it stayed with you for years. Or maybe you had an inexplicable feeling that something was about to happen, and it unfolded exactly as you imagined. These moments, though difficult to understand as a child, were manifestations of your connection with the divine. For example, a chosen child may have dreams that warn them of future situations or visions that bring peace in times of doubt. These experiences are like seeds planted in their soul, preparing them to recognize and embrace God's purpose for their life. Often, these dreams come with a sense of comfort or direction, as if they were a reminder that you're not alone on your journey. The Bible speaks of God using dreams to communicate with us. In Job 33 verses 15 to 16 it says, "In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls upon men, while they slumber on their beds, then he opens the ears of men and seals their instruction." This passage reinforces that God often chooses dreams as a means of guiding us and revealing His plan. If you've experienced these moments, know they're more than mere coincidences. They're a reflection of your greater calling and part of your connection with God, who prepares you from an early age to fulfill your special purpose. 5. Protection. Since childhood, you may have experienced moments of inexplicable protection, where in the face of danger or unexpected events, something beyond the natural seems to intervene, ensuring your safety. This feeling of a greater force watching over you wasn't a coincidence. These moments, though difficult to understand at the time, are clear signs of divine protection at work in your life. Perhaps you recall narrowly escaping accidents or complicated situations that resolved surprisingly in your favor. You may have felt an invisible presence at your side, like a guardian ensuring nothing serious would happen. This protection, present from an early age, reflects God's care for those He has chosen to fulfill a special purpose. Imagine a time when you instinctively avoided danger without realizing the risk, or someone appeared at the exact moment to help, as if sent by a higher power. These aren't coincidences, but demonstrations of your life's greater meaning and your preparation and protection for a divine mission. The Bible speaks of this special protection in Psalm 91 verse 11, "For He will command His angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." This promise reminds us that God appoints His protection for those with an important role in His plan. Recognizing this feeling of divine protection means understanding that you're not alone on your journey. These moments are reminders that you're part of something greater, that your life is being guided and guarded to fulfill God's purpose. Accepting this reality is a step toward living with greater confidence and gratitude, knowing that even in the most difficult times, you've never been forsaken. Your story is being written with care, and every detail is proof of the divine love and protection surrounding you. 6. Connection. Since childhood, you may have felt God's closeness, like a faithful friend walking by your side. This sense of closeness wasn't chance or imagination, but a clear expression of divine love manifesting in a special way in your life. Perhaps you remember talking to God simply, as if He were right there, listening to every word, even without audible answers. Many chosen children have this perception, where the connection with God becomes natural, almost like a friendship. In difficult times, you may have experienced inexplicable peace, perhaps a feeling of tranquility and protection in the midst of chaos, assuring you that you weren't alone. These episodes are signs that God has always been present, guiding and strengthening you from an early age. For example, there may have been times when, even without understanding why, you felt the urge to pray or seek answers from something greater. These experiences demonstrate that your heart was already attuned to the divine, prepared to receive the blessings and guidance that would be part of your journey. This close relationship with God is one of the greatest gifts a chosen one can experience. The Bible reinforces this truth in Psalm 145 verse 8, where we read, "The Lord is near to all who call on Him, to all who call on Him in truth." This passage reminds us that God is not distant, but is always beside those who seek Him with faith and purity of heart. If you had this connection from an early age, know that it's a reflection of the special calling God has placed in your life. This closeness isn't common, but a preparation for the unique purpose He has reserved for you. Embrace this relationship with God and allow it to continue to grow, being the foundation for facing challenges and fulfilling your mission. 7 Challenges. From a young age, the chosen ones tend to face situations that make them feel different. Perhaps you noticed, even as a child, that you didn't fit in completely among your peers or even in your own family. This feeling of not belonging may have been painful and lonely, but it was essential in shaping who you are today. These challenges didn't arise by chance. They were part of the preparation process for your greater purpose. Often, this feeling of isolation makes you see the world more deeply. While others followed the flow of everyday interactions, you might have questioned things that few considered. This kind of reflection, though uncomfortable, broadened your understanding of life and the people around you. It's in these moments of solitude and introspection that God works in our hearts, developing the inner strength needed to overcome obstacles and understand the complexities of the human condition. For example, you may have been the one who cared more about the feelings of others, while your peers seemed to ignore the suffering of others. Or perhaps you felt that your ideas and thoughts weren't fully understood, as if you saw the world differently. This difference wasn't a flaw but a mark that you were set apart for something greater, a purpose that requires resilience and courage. The Bible teaches us that these difficulties are part of the preparation process. In Romans 5 verses 3-4 it's written, "Not only that, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, character, and character hope." These challenges aren't punishments but tools to shape your character and strengthen your faith. Remember, to be a beacon of hope, you must first face turbulent waters. The difficulties you faced have served to prepare you, turning pain into strength and isolation into empathy. This process not only molds you but also empowers you to be an example of perseverance and faith, inspired by the divine purpose that has always been present in your life. 8. Fascination. From a young age, you may have shown an unusual interest in stories that transcended the ordinary. While many children were drawn to fairy tales or fictional adventures, perhaps you preferred accounts of courage, faith, and sacrifice. Stories of martyrs, spiritual leaders, or people who faced great adversity to fulfill a greater purpose captured your attention in a special way. This fascination wasn't just a preference, but a reflection of the unique calling God placed in your life, preparing you to be a light in a world often overshadowed by doubt and fear. This early interest in figures of faith may have begun with biblical stories. Perhaps the courage of David in facing Goliath touched your heart, showing that with faith in God, it's possible to overcome seemingly impossible challenges. Or who knows, the perseverance of Noah, who obeyed God and built the ark amidst everyone's skepticism, may have inspired your determination. These stories didn't just entertain, they planted seeds of inspiration, showing that faith can transform lives and move mountains. Another example is the life of Joseph, who faced betrayals, injustices, and years of waiting before seeing God's plan fulfilled. He was sold into slavery by his own brothers, but he maintained his trust in God. In the end, he became a leader who saved many from famine. For a child fascinated by these narratives, the story of Joseph is a reminder that even the most difficult times have a greater purpose, something that can resonate deeply in the heart of a chosen one. In addition to biblical accounts, you may also have been interested in stories of real people who lived with courage and faith in difficult times. Martyrs who refused to abandon their beliefs, missionaries who took God's message to distant places, or reformers who fought for justice may have fueled your desire to make a difference in the world. These examples of dedication and conviction often awakened in you a desire to live with a similar purpose. The Bible reinforces the importance of being inspired by these examples. In Hebrews 12 verse 1 we read, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." This passage reminds us that the faith stories of others are beacons that encourage us to continue our own journey. If you identified with these stories from an early age, it was more than just a simple preference, it was a preparation for your calling. God was shaping your heart to be an inspiration, someone who could live with the same courage and dedication that so fascinated you. These stories weren't just examples, they were reflections of the purpose that God was already revealing in your life. 9. Curiosity. From an early age, you may have been that child who asked difficult questions that adults didn't always know how to answer. Questions about the purpose of life, the reason for suffering, or even who God is, often arise in your mind. This curiosity wasn't just childish, but a sign that you had a special connection with the divine and a soul destined to seek deeper answers than the ordinary. Perhaps you wondered what happens after death, why bad things happen to good people, or how the world was created. While other children were satisfied with simple answers, you wanted more. This search for understanding was like a flame burning within you, fueling your need to discover truths that transcended the obvious. This thirst for spiritual knowledge wasn't just natural, but an indication that God was already planting seeds of purpose in your heart. In the Bible, we find clear examples of people who demonstrated this spiritual curiosity. One of them is the young Samuel, who from an early age lived in the temple serving the priest Eli. In 1 Samuel 3 verse 10, we see Samuel hearing the voice of God for the first time. Not knowing immediately that it was the Lord speaking to him, he replies, "Speak, for your servant is listening." This shows that even without understanding everything, Samuel was already willing to listen and learn, revealing an open soul connected to the divine. Another example is the young Jesus, who at the age of 12 was found in the temple discussing with the religious leaders. In Luke 2 verses 46 to 47, we read that he asked questions and listened attentively, leaving the teachers amazed at his wisdom. Just as Jesus showed an early interest in spiritual matters, the curiosity you felt in childhood is also a reflection of a greater calling. This search for answers may have led you to explore biblical stories, observe people's behavior, or even spend long hours reflecting on the meaning of life. You wanted to understand more than what was visible, because deep down, you knew there was something greater guiding everything. Perhaps in moments of silence, you felt a presence or intuition that told you to keep searching. This spiritual and existential curiosity is a gift. It's as if God were preparing you to be someone who, in addition to learning, shares the answers and hope you found. Proverbs 2 verses 3 to 5 encourages us, "If you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding, If you seek her as silver and search for her as for hidden treasures, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. This thirst for wisdom is a powerful tool that propels you on your journey. It not only shapes your faith, but also empowers you to inspire others to seek truth that transforms lives. Perhaps in childhood, you overcame challenges such as the loss of a loved one, financial difficulties, or family problems. Even if those times were painful, they shaped you, preparing you to face even greater situations in the future. This resilience is like spiritual armor that helps you keep going, even when the weight seems too great. It's not easy to understand, but the difficulties you faced were not in vain. Every obstacle overcome has made you stronger, more prepared, and more capable of fulfilling the purpose God has for you. The resilience you demonstrate is a reflection of the divine plan that is at work in your life. Be grateful for this strength that often seems to come out of nowhere. It's a reminder that you're never alone and that God will always be by your side, even in the most difficult battles. Use this strength to keep moving forward, knowing that each overcoming brings you closer to your destiny as a chosen one. Recognizing these signs in your life is just the first step in a journey that is constantly unfolding. Each phase of your story brings new revelations, challenges, and opportunities for spiritual growth. Moments that seemed insignificant in childhood can take on new meaning as you advance in your walk with God. That imaginary friend you talked to may have been a spiritual guide sent to watch over you. The times when you escaped difficult situations without a logical explanation were, in fact, divine interventions. Being chosen doesn't mean having a life without difficulties. On the contrary, your journey is marked by challenges that shape your character, just as gold is refined by fire to become purer and more valuable. These moments of trial aren't punishments, but stages of learning and strengthening. They serve to prepare you for the greater purpose that God has reserved for you. If you recognize these signs in your own story, know that this is no coincidence. You're part of a divine plan that is being revealed every day. Share your experience with others who are also discovering what it means to be chosen. Your story can inspire and strengthen those who are still at the beginning of this journey. Let your light shine brightly, illuminating the path for those around you and reflecting God's love in every step you take. This light is not just for you, but for everyone who seeks to find their purpose. Comment below if you recognize these signs in your childhood. Don't forget to subscribe to the Top Hidden Knowledge channel to stay updated with other content on wisdom and spirituality. Also, if you found this valuable, share it with someone who might benefit from it. Thank you for joining us on this journey. See you in the next video.